Yeah. He does always be up front. You guys just sit in the back.
Yes. Thanks. You're writing, yeah. Okay, 2 o'clock. I'd like to call our September 6th meeting to order. Could I have a pledge of allegiance, please? Okay, thank you. Petra, roll call, please.
Mayor Labriella?
Here.
Ms. Cricket?
Here.
Ms. Conley?
Here.
Ms. Moffett?
Here.
Ms. Tillerson?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
We have 2 sets of minutes under tab 1 and tab 2. The first set is a special call meeting of August the 2nd. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
So
moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, one correction.
John.
On the last page, it says that Councilmember Moffitt made a motion, and then it says Councilmember Moffitt seconded the motion. I think Ms. Connolly seconded it.
Very good.
Moved in second.
With that change, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the second set of minutes is, again, August the 2nd, regular town council meeting. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All hearing none. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, they're approved. Mayor's update. Number of items. As of the 1st of September through the month of September, interested full-time residents of Kiowa can apply for, send in the credentials for consideration and for the election, which will be in December, as a member of town council. We will have 3 positions open, 3 council members open, 2 for 4 years and 1 for 2 years. So there will be more going on that. Last month, I mentioned an expansion of the Kimley Horn study. They are underway. We would hope that they would have something back to us maybe within a couple of months in terms of looking at the intersection of Kiowa Drive and Beachwalker, kind of in the broadest context in terms of looking at it with the thought that maybe to really encroach on the parking lot of the Kiowa Island Real Estate. Another study that will be underway is the comprehensive plan itself. We should be getting that underway maybe within,
Soon? John?
Yeah, end of September, we'll have information out about public meetings.
okay, wonderful, by the end of September. So we'll be getting into that in October. That's a really important one. That's going to engage literally all the interested parties on the island, and really looking at the future issues. Some key dates to keep in mind: September the 8th is the MUSC, is the groundbreaking for the new ER from MUSC will be taking place. On October the 5th, our Planning Commission, we will have at least one agenda item, and that is moving forward with the, from the application for preliminary site approval for the Beachwalker project. And October the 10th will be the Planning Commission for the county, and they will be addressing the full plan development application for Andell West. So a couple of key dates. And want to turn it over to Councilman Conley. This is her last meeting, and I think Mary Ann has a few comments to make.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, today is my last council meeting. It's the end of 4 years I've been on the council. My term would actually end in December, but we're moving, so I have to resign earlier. It has been a wonderful experience, and I hope that other people will extend themselves and run for council this year. When I first started in the council, I went to talk to Mayor Weaver, and I said to him, you know, I think I'm interested in this. What do you think? And he gave me some highs and lows and whatever, but he said, oh, there's only 2 or 3 meetings a month. So I thought, oh, great, you know, I can do that. Well, the first month, I think we were meeting like five weeks out of 5. We've covered a lot of information in 4 years, and I've learned a lot. I did an alligator study. We studied bobcats, rodenticides, sharks. We also dealt with hurricanes, tropical storms, sea level rise, marsh management, landscaping, and single-use plastics. We dealt with development agreements, market analysis, Parcel 13, Cape, the timbers, and annexation. My primary area of responsibility was for public safety. And I love public safety, and I've enjoyed all my time working with the different organizations. And I'm very happy that we have a public safety officer now. It's really helped us a lot. But through public safety, we got our certified emergency response team up and working. The fire company has all of their officers certified for emergency treatment. We've gotten sheriff's coverage full-time since 2018-19. We have the bike patrol. Beach patrol has been awesome, and they've also had received DHEC certification. We're the only ones in Charleston County that has that, and they can respond to any kind of emergency we have here on the island. And of course, that's through the beach patrol. The most important thing for me was getting an ambulance on this island. I had an unfortunate experience in the beginning of my term, and a resident called me and said, are you going to take responsibility if somebody dies because the ambulance didn't get there on time? He got my attention, and every month he wrote to me to get an update. And through an effort of a lot of people, we now have our own ambulance on Kiowa Island, and the response time has increased, has gotten better significantly. It also has helped the morale of the people that respond because they know they can get there quicker. We also had to deal with COVID. I learned more about the CDC than I ever wanted to know. And also, we started our 24-hour hotline, compliance officers, and beach regulations. There's a lot to do, a lot to learn, and a lot to help with. The town is wonderful to be, we're very fortunate we have such a group of professionals on Kiowa and people who are willing to give up their time to serve. I'd like to also compliment the staff that we have in the town. They're awesome and they're quite professional. We're very lucky. We have to keep them happy though, because if we lose anybody, it's a big deal. I have 2 recommendations before I leave. I think after observing our sheriff department, that it's time for Kiowa to look at having its own police department. And it's something that's there's a study that's required in that, and it's also something that requires certain certification through the county. It's not something you can just go and set up. But I really think with growth in Kiowa and new issues that come up, that would be very helpful. And our police, our public safety committee could deal directly with the issues and have more control. The other thing, I mentioned this alligator study I did when I first started. I couldn't imagine what Mr. Mayor Weaver was talking to me about. And I had to make sure that we were treating the alligator situation with safety and find out what other people did. But as a result of that, I ended up working with Jim Jordan, and there's another professional. And I really think that the growth on our island requires that we consider having a wildlife officer. And I don't know whether that would be somebody in Jim's organization or the public safety organization, but this is somebody that could be checking the island all the time, and we'd be more proactive when it comes to treating wildlife. Those are my comments. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to miss everybody. I'm going to miss this work. Thank you.
We will miss you, Mary Ann. Godspeed.
Thank you.
Citizen comments.
Hello everyone, happy Tuesday, Mr. Mayor, Council. If y'all would please pull out the little packets that I passed out to y'all earlier. And
I'm sorry, could you please state your name and address and your business for the record?
sure. I am Ryan Kennedy, founder and owner of Water Dog Cattle Company. All right. Going on 10 years next 2023. I'm a Kiowa Seabrook Island native who worked every service job at Kiowa growing up. I pride myself on understanding the island's clientele and how to best service them. I love where I grew up, and I've enjoyed sharing it with thousands of families. Going on 10 years in 2023. Just so you know, we're paddleboard, a kayak eco-adventure company, right? My family's history runs deep here. My first ancestor is Robert Seabrook. My family operates one of the South Carolina's oldest seafood establishments, Cherry Point Seafood, on Wadmore Island. We love where we come from, and we show it every day in our work. In this time of more and more people moving here from everywhere, it's important to keep that authentic local touch. People enjoy that, people want that. Aside from our 5-star customer service, we provide clients with a sense of safety in our dangerous waterways. Every day we see families in euphoric vacation states of mind, being unaware of all the variables we have here: current, wind, oysters, etc. We pride ourselves on not only providing a fun and educational nature experience, but one that also teaches the understanding and respect of our tricky waterways. building them up so they can adventure out on their own in the future. In your hands is an example of the photo album each family receives as part of their package at Water Dog Paddle Company. We're proud to provide families with a couple hours of fun without electronics. Kayaking and paddleboarding are a few of the activities where clients oftentimes don't bring their phones along. So in turn, we're one of the few activities where the whole family will be fully engaged. We capture these moments to prove that it can still happen. In these photos, you see timeless, priceless, good old-fashioned fun. Mayor and council, hopefully you can see my passion for what I do, where I'm from, and servicing this clientele. I'm willing to work with you on a solution that will not take away from public access to the Kiowa River and allow myself and my company to continue being Kiowa Seabrook family's favorite thing to do, or favorite thing they did on their vacation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? Okay. Old business. This is a second and final reading of ordinance 2022-05. Craig? Yeah.
Good afternoon,
Hi,
Mr.
Craig.
Mayor, Council. As you can see, we went back to the drawing boards to see the pros and cons of the loading versus having it restricted to just public access, public only parking space. And there are far more complex issues. We're dealing with public parking versus having it restricted for commercial as well. And by the comments that we've been receiving to look into a little further, we found it as feasible to be as just public parking access only due to the fact also, you guys recall, originally that area was designed for the public access, so prevent people from fishing on the bridge. There's nothing inside the actual project that say anything about commercial parking. This is something that came up that we decided to see whether it's feasible, but further down the line we can see it can be a complex issue because what actually constitutes commercial, people who have business, right? So if we decide to work things out with a kayak company, but it's not guaranteed that another company can actually come through there and park there for unknown time the way we have restricted. So it's kind of like it's not guaranteed for a particular commercial entity. It can be any commercial entity, and that can be a problem.
I would just add to that. So what you guys are looking at, of course, is just a change to what you saw in first reading. Second reading would be not allowing any commercial vehicles. But the other concern really at that location is safety, right? From a public safety standpoint, from a commercial activity, you're drawing more and more people there. As you drive up and down that part of the parkway, the concern is that people are essentially popping out of cars in and out. When the town received the grant from the county, my understanding, because I wasn't here, but it was really to have a spot for people to want to fish, because we don't allow fishing on the bridge. So they can pull off on the side, get out and fish. If people want to be able to kayak there and park there publicly, they can, but the concern is that one, we shouldn't allow any commercial activity on that spot. Two, it's a public safety issue. Three, as Director Harris has said, how do you regulate and control other commercial activity that may occur there? And again, we don't want any commercial activity on that area. It's not safe. There's a lot of cars going by at a fairly high speed, and by allowing commercial activity there, we're essentially allowing people to come, jump in and out of cars, doors open, kids may pop out, and so it's just something that we don't think is safe at that location. We think there's other locations on the island behind the gate that they may be able to to still continue the service because we think it's a great service that they offer. Day visitors or guests or even owners, but maybe the best location will be other spots behind the gate, and work with Kika to try to get access. One of the companies already have access behind the gate. It's my understanding they operate at Reds Bluff and Cedar Creek. The other company could also look to work with Kika. There may be a fee that they have to pay or some sort of franchise agreement, but that's something they can work out with the community association to be able to launch at those two locations.
So the community association is willing to discuss other options for purveyors to get on the island?
Well, I really can't speak fully for Kika, but I know one of the company does have some type of agreement with them.
Yeah. Well, I think though, you say you talked with Kika, and they said for the other
Yeah.
company, they would just have to reach out to the community association to essentially establish some sort of agreement with them.
Right.
So yes, there is
There are options.
options. They just have to reach out to the community association and get that contract set up with them.
So, but in this document here, this is the second reading. The fact that it's substantially different than we had at the first reading, is it still the second reading? even
Yeah.
with the
It
changes?
is, you can make an amendment on second reading.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, doesn't
I
start.
mean,
the
you have to
clock.
vote on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to start
Right.
the clock over.
No.
No.
Okay.
Greg, the only thing I would add, we seem to be focused on commercial, non-commercial activity. It is unsafe. And whether it's a bigger truck letting kayaks out or a smaller or a bigger SUV, it is just unsafe. I guess what I would ask you to do, I think the association did a good job in terms of looking at speed limits past the gate is to look at speed limits over there. Got bikers and families. We complain about traffic. As long as you're within your car, it's just an inconvenience. Somebody gets hit and hurt, it's a whole, changes the dynamics quite a bit, so much differently. So I would ask you to really take a good hard look at speed limits on that parkway. They go around the roundabout, what is the speed limits? Because, 45?
35.
Well,
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's different.
no one's going that.
Pretty low.
But anyway, I think it's more than just whether it's commercial or non-commercial. That's a exposure, and then certainly the bikers are an exposure. So we just got to try to get, as best as we can, get people to slow down on that parkway.
I have a question just for clarification.
Yes, sir.
So when you say here, no commercial vehicles shall stop, stand, park, and so forth, are you talking about people that are in the process of conducting commercial activity? Or if I'm a painter and I've got all the ladders on the top of my truck, can I stop there on the way home and go fishing? Or is that, because that's a commercial vehicle, it's not really allowed?
And that's a commercial vehicle, it's not allowed.
So the issue is no commercial vehicles, not no conduct of commercial activity. It's your preference is no commercial vehicles, is what this means.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of both. I mean, it should be no commercial activity either. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
but yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kennedy had a comment. Is it okay for him to make it?
Sure.
Thank you, guys. So as far as like with Kika, unfortunately, I would love to be able to have access inside the gate of Kiowa. Unfortunately, that's exclusive. They have one contract that they allow each year, and that's to tidal trails. So if I didn't state it clear in what I was reading earlier, my livelihood is on the line here. And I'm quite nervous up here, I'm sorry. And, but I've had my business for 10 years now, and I love what I do, and I just want to try to work with y'all to figure out a way to continue servicing our guests. And I believe, I see it every day, I believe that the speed limit would be a good solution as far as safety-wise, to go down to make 25 or something like that, maybe until they pass Cacique or something, closer to Freshfields.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions, comments to Craig regarding the
No.
changes that have been made from the first reading to now the second reading of this ordinance?
I'd like to make a comment on this matter. Very short.
Sure.
David Stefano, 31 Burroughs Hall. With respect to the Kika issue, Kika has a contract, but the contract is to service people on the island. The contract does not allow them bringing people from off island. So they can operate on the island, but they can't bring other people on the island that don't ordinarily have a pass. So even if we were willing to do it, he would not be able to bring his customers in with him unless they got a pass. So just to clarify that.
Thank you.
That's
Very good.
important.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? John, Marianne, Dan? Could I have a motion to approve, please?
Well, let's make a motion to amend
Motion to amend.
as indicated in the
Okay.
agenda.
All right, motion to amend
So moved.
this ordinance.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The motion to approve as amended.
Motion to approve as amended.
Yes.
That's what we just approved.
No.
Or you just
Now
approved
you
the
just amended.
amendment. So now you do the second reading for the
Motion to
ordinance
approve
as
it.
amended.
Okay, motion to approve as amended. All right. Now, can we have
Do you have a
motion
So
to,
moved.
so move second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Foster? This was discussed at Ways and Means Committee earlier, and the Ways and Means Committee approved the additional, supported the additional funding. So,
Good afternoon. Just to quickly reiterate, in July, the town issued an RFP for a consulting firm to conduct a study to determine the feasibility of creating a performing arts and cultural center. The selection committee reviewed the 9 proposals received and narrowed down the top 4 strongest firms. After consideration, the committee recommends Web Management Services due to their extensive experience working with government, art, and community organizations. This proposal is customized to the unique needs outlined in the RFP, offering a hands-on and community-oriented approach. They propose an extensive 2-phase study with phase 1 focused on assessment and phase 2 focused on concept development. Just to kind of touch on some of the deliverables the firm promises, those would include PDF reports, an executive summary that describes and processes their results, research, a multi-tab Excel-based workbook with a detailed pro forma operating budget, raw data, and any raw survey data, summaries, or other content. Web is highly rated by their references, and there's a notable pattern of continued partnership amongst them and their clients. The selection committee is confident the firm will provide expert service to the town. I'm requesting, town staff requests, that the approval of Web Management Services proposal to conduct the feasibility study for a performing arts and cultural center. The cost for their proposal is $77,500, so that leaves a balance of $27,500. I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Many of you have probably attended Arts Council events in your time here in Kiowa, and they're always very successful and frequently sold out. What we've run into recently is that we're losing access to space because everyone is having events that they need to schedule. We work very well with the resort to get space there. But it's just that the space is somewhat limited, and since COVID, we've had to reduce the number of people that are available to go to buy tickets. It's also been a time where the price of renting certain equipment, like lighting, has gone up significantly, as in many industries. And it's time to start looking at, should we have that property ourselves, or should we continue to rent it? So the Arts Council does a great job, and our people from Kiowa and people from Seabrook and other places in Charleston County enjoy the events, and that's why this has been decided to look at the feasibility. It's only a feasibility study of whether or not it's worthwhile to move forward and do something with the arts center.
John, Dan, in the comments?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Mayor, 20 years ago, I was involved with the city of Charlotte in a similar venture, which is we needed to figure out how to fund and operate a number of cultural centers in the city. It is a complex question and one that needs to be carefully analyzed, and I think that's what the intent of this is. Charlotte was quite successful in doing this, but we learned some interesting lessons, which this hopefully will bring forward. One is the arts community typically is able to handle the financial side of, let's call it, the performances. Funding the facility in Charlotte, I'm not saying it's going to work here, really required the governments, the city and the county, to step forward because they had the ability to issue bonds that were tax exempt that would allow the construction of facilities. The biggest problem became the operation of the facility over an extended period of time, which neither the county could afford, the city could afford, or the community could afford. So what they elected to do was to raise what amounted to a big fund, a trust fund, a perpetual fund that would operate the facilities over a long period of time. These are the kind of questions we need to look at. We are running out of facilities. It's a problem. Whether or not we have the financial capability through public and private funding to do all these things is what we need to take a hard look at. It worked well in Charlotte. It solved a lot of problems, but we were heavily supported by the large corporations which were there, Bank of America, Duke Energy, Wachovia Corporation, all stepped to the plate with big, big donations, and it helped. The individual citizens also gave tremendously to this effort. So we've got some tough questions on feasibility to look at. And I think it's going to involve the community broader than just the town. It's going to involve Seabrook, Johns Island, and other parts of our community, including the resort, the partners, and so on, to really take a look at this and say, does it make sense? And if it does, we should move forward. But this is what we're going to look at, take a hard look at feasibility. So I welcome the study. I think we need to be tough on ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I agree, Dan. My only comment is I think this has been a subject for many years, but I think this is an issue of maturation. I think that it's not so much the arts, it's not so much the programs put on by the Arts Council. That's been relatively stable for a long time. I think it's just the overall maturation of the community at large in terms of the level of interest that they would have in having a venue here as compared to going into the city, which gets back to roads and traffic and people getting older and unwillingness to drive at night and all of those things. But I think it's really, are we ready for something like that in terms of one, that maturation? Number two, is the town staff ready to really adopt a new business line? Because that's what this would be. I mean, I think Dan said it very, very well. This may be a facility to conduct Arts Council events, but that ain't.
And these are questions that the firm will explore as well.
Absolutely. So having this as a business, like any other business, is going to require, some real careful thought. So anyway, we got to get the study to get all those questions answered. So, okay. Could I have a motion, please?
I so
Or
moved.
any questions? No, motion, please.
I so moved.
Okay, Mayor, motion second?
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments, anything to add to Ruthie's presentation? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
it's
you.
approved. Thank you, Ruthie. Brian?
Right.
Purchase of a town vehicle.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So as you all know, there are some members of town staff that their job requires them to go out onto the island to conduct their work. One of those positions being, one of those departments being the wildlife department. So we are at a position right now to get them another vehicle due to the growing demands of their field calls and just the day-to-day operations that they go through. Town staff publicly posted an RFP to solicit quotes for a new wildlife vehicle. In addition to the publicly posted RFP, we personally contacted some of the dealerships in and around Charleston County to see if they would like to put in their quote for a vehicle. We heard back from only one company, which was Fred Anderson Toyota, and they gave us a quote of $47,546. We are asking today that Town Council approve the purchase of a vehicle from Fred Anderson Toyota. It was budgeted, we're within our budget. We budgeted $60,000 for a new vehicle for the wildlife department. So this falls within that budget.
What happened to the good old days?
I'm wondering where they are.
They're giving you a discount of $1,900 and then they're market adjusting it up $1,900.
I think it's just a slick tactic that they put in there.
How old is
Supply and demand.
How old is the truck that's being replaced?
This is not a replacement.
new
This will
one.
be an additional.
Addition.
Yes, ma'am.
Roger, do you have a truck you could lend us? Do you have a truck you can lend us? No? Okay.
You looked at electric,
We did, so we've still got that electric vehicle coming at the end of this year. So that's going to be kind of like our litmus test to see how well it handles. We certainly didn't want to give an electric vehicle to the wildlife department, not knowing how they're going to hold up in the salt and sand and everything like that. So we are still on our pledge to do that investigation and take that route if that's what we find is the most economic. But for immediately, and to get them a truck immediately, those electric vehicles are very back ordered. So being that they need one right now.
any other questions of Brian? Could I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Okay. Could I have a motion to go into executive session? to
So
receive-
moved.
Okay.
You just need to read what's on the agenda and let the public know how long.
Oh, to receive legal advice pursuant to Section Code Section 30-4 concerning development agreement and the appeal of the planning commission decision. No action will be taken. Maybe an hour.
Yes. Time?
Okay. Motion to go into it?
Okay.
We have to take a vote?
I don't
Yeah.
know. You normally.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
consent by consent.
Yeah.
Does everybody agree to go into
Aye.
executive
Yes.
session?